On the 5th day after the prince's birth, he was named Siddhattha, which means wish fulfilled. His family name was Gautama. In accordance with the ancient Indian custom, many learned brahmins were invited to the palace for the naming ceremony. Amongst them, there were 8 distinguished men. Examining the characteristic marks of the child, 7 of them raised 2 fingers each, indicative of 2 alternative possibilities, and said that he would either become a universal monarch or a Buddha. But the youngest, Kundana, who excelled others in wisdom, noticing the hair on the forehead turned to the right, raised only 1 finger and convincingly declared that the prince would definitely retire from the world and become a Buddha. A very remarkable incident took place in his childhood. It was an unprecedented spiritual experience which, later, during his search after truth, served as a key to his enlightenment. To promote agriculture, the king arranged for a ploughing festival. It was indeed a festive occasion for all, as both nobles and commoners decked in their best attire participated in the ceremony. On the appointed day, the king, accompanied by his courtiers, went to the field, taking with him the young prince together with the nurses. Placing the child on a screened and canopied couch under the cool shade of a solitary rose-apple tree to be watched by the nurses, the king participated in the ploughing festival. When the festival was at its height of gaiety, the nurses too stole away from the prince's presence to catch a glimpse of the wonderful spectacle. In striking contrast to the mirth and merriment of the festival, it was all calm and quiet under the rose-apple tree. All the conditions conducive to quiet meditation being there, the pensive child, young in years but old in wisdom, sat cross-legged and seized the opportunity to commence that all-important practice of intent concentration on the breath on exhalations and inhalations, which gained for him then and there that one pointedness of mind, known as samadhi, and he thus developed the first jhāna, ecstasy. The child's nurses, who had abandoned their precious charge to enjoy themselves at the festival, suddenly realizing their duty, hastened to the child, and were amazed to see him sitting cross-legged plunged in deep meditation. The king, hearing of it, hurried to the spot and seeing the child in meditative posture saluted him, saying, "This, dear child, is my second obeisance." Education. As a royal child, Prince Siddhattha must have received an education that became a prince, although no details are given about it. As a scion of the warrior race, he received special training in the art of warfare. Married life. At the early age of 16, he married his beautiful cousin Princess Yasodhara, who was of equal age. For nearly 13 years, after his happy marriage, he led a luxurious life, blissfully ignorant of the vicissitudes of life outside the palace gates. Of his luxurious life as prince, he states, "I was delicate, excessively delicate. In my father's dwelling, 3 lotus ponds were made purposely for me. Blue lotuses bloomed in one, red in another, and white in another. I used no sandalwood that was not of Kasi. My turban, tunic, dress, and cloak were all from Kasi. Night and day a white parasol was held over me so that I might not be touched by heat or cold, dust, leaves, or dew. There were 3 palaces built for me, one for the cold season, one for the hot season, and one for the rainy season. During the 4 rainy months, I lived in the palace for the rainy season without ever coming down from it, entertained all the while by female musicians. Just as, in the houses of others, food from the husks of rice together with sour gruel is given to the slaves and workmen, even so, in my father's dwelling, food with rice and meat was given to the slaves and workmen. With the march of time, truth gradually dawned upon him. His contemplative nature and boundless compassion did not permit him to spend his time in the mere enjoyment of the fleeting pleasures of the royal palace. He knew no personal grief, but he felt a deep pity for suffering humanity. Amidst comfort and prosperity, he realized the universality of sorrow.